functional dependencies, closure set, attribute closure, how those attribute closures are helping us to identify the super keys and candidate keys. All these discussions we have, and also had an introductory discussion towards normalization. What is the need of normalization? That was our point of discussion in past lecture. And normalization in easy terms can be defined as bringing the database into a good form or normal form. Normal form is, or good form is, it should be accessible, it should be updatable, it should be understandable by any user who is willing to operate on that. Okay. But now in the past lecture we have seen few examples, like you may be getting this kind of order form and you may be asked to design a database for this. Then you'll have to identify all the entities, the relationship sets, the primary keys for that, how it will be accessed, and then you'll have to also um, avoid or eliminate the chances of any anomaly or or confusions which may happen during insertion or deletion or updation of the data from that database. So you may be getting this kind of information, or maybe getting this kind of table which is uh, readable by us, but it may not be accessible or readable by the computer, or maybe getting this kind of information where several amount of data is getting repeated, or redundancy of data exists in this particular table. So these kind of tables may be available with us, and we need to reformulize all these table and bring them into a normal form which will be easy for us to understand and access. That's the whole process of normalization. So as I discussed earlier, this whole normalization process is a step-by-step activity in which one by one we are eliminating uh, one or the other uh, constraint which may be imposed on a unnormalized database. So that's what we are going to see in today's discussion. This forms a very important discussion as far as database design is concerned, will definitely help you in practicals and also overall understanding of a database. Because right now, what is our approach of learning databases? First, we have seen what do you mean by relational database, how it looks, and how it can be accessed using relational algebra and relational in SQL. But now we are going to see how that can be prepared. Till now we were working on an absolutely normalized and good database. Now we are starting from the scratch. So how it will be done, that we are going to see. But we'll start with a formal definition of normalization now, where normalization can be defined as a process of organizing the data in database to avoid data redundancy, insertion anomaly, update anomaly, and deletion anomaly. Okay, so we need to uh, design the data in such a way, that in a systematic way, in a stepwise manner, so that we are going to avoid all these things, maybe one by one or maybe at once. Okay, so more elaborative definition is it's a process of organizing the data into tables in such a way that the results of using the database are always unambiguous and as intended. Yes, whenever I want some output, it should be unambiguous. It should not be there should not be any confusion, and it should be exactly producing the output the way user wants. Not unnecessary data need to be printed. Not some data should be missed. Okay, such normalization is intrinsic to the relational database theory. Intrinsic means it is understood that we should prepare the relations in such a way, that the tables in such a way that uh, they should be in a normalized form. It may have the effect of duplicating the data within the database and often results in creation of additional tables. So sometimes we may need to create additional tables. We may need to create or decompose the existing table into smaller table, so that all these things can be achieved. Okay? This is a formal definition of normalization. Right now, you just try to see this, and then we'll come back to the definition once we see one example. Okay, this normalization is generally of 7 types. First normal form, second normal form, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. These are the 6 normal forms which are stepwise uh, process of normalizing the database, along with one additional normal form called as BCNF, that is Boyce Codd normal form, which will be after 3 and before fourth normal form. That's a separate normal form, a separate identification. We are not treating it as a basic part of normalization, because that problem will not be there always in every database. It will be in the selected database. Hence, that normalization form is normal form is kept separate. So, thus we are going to learn 7 normal forms out of this in this. Okay. So let us start with the basic report which I get. I am asked to prepare a database for this report. This report has information about project, that is project number, project name, the employees which are working on that, the employee numbers and their names, along with the designation or job class of that particular employee. Like June Arbo is an electrical engineer, John News is a database engineer, Williams is a programmer, and so on. The charges per hour for that particular employee, total number of hours that employee has worked for that project, and the amount he has charged for this project, and finally what was the cost of that project as per the employee payment is concerned. Okay, so project number 15 Evergreen is charged $10,549. Similarly, project number 18, 22, 25 all are uh, described. Now we are asked to prepare a database for this raw report. Okay. Now we need to convert it into a table form. So let us try to convert this into a single table. Okay. We'll convert it into a single table. If you are seeing it here, if these are the attributes which we'll have to be addressing. Okay, when we'll have to take care that if we are normalizing the database, it should not happen that any of such data to be lost. Okay, we'll have to keep every data with us. Now try to convert it into a table. So can I have a table like this? Yes, definitely we can have. It is giving you the complete information in a row, and as these rows are blank, we are understanding that the same is our understanding. Our understanding is that the same data is going to be carried forward here. So I am understanding that it should be 15 here, it should be 15 here, and all. Okay, but similarly 18 will be copied in rest of the 4, and so on. Okay, now my understanding is I am assuming that for these 3 blank columns, Umberwave is the input. But how can you explain it to the computer? See here, this is a cursor. This is a cursor. This cursor is pointing to the first row and is having complete information: project number, project name, employee number, name, and so on. But as soon as the cursor moves to the next, it has only this information, this part onwards, and for it these two things where you have blank for it, this is blank for it, rest of the data is available. So when I am trying to access this row, I am not going to get complete information. What I am going to get is employee number 113 is Delbert, who is an application designer. He charges uh, $48.10 dollars per hour, and he has worked for 23.6 hours. Okay, so it for which project he has worked for those many hours is not mentioned. Okay, so this form of database is also an unnormalized form, but only difference in the previous case and this case. Okay, here you have two things which are missing in the next table is total charge and the subtotal. Okay, these two things are not appearing in the next one. Why they are not appearing? Because this factor into this factor is generating this. Okay, and the total of complete total charge is generating this. So in this matter, these two attributes are the generated attributes which can be generated as output. We don't need to waste our database or a column or attribute for that. That's why this particular table is missing total hours he has worked. We have charge per hour, we have total hours he has worked for. So I can anytime generate the total bill or total amount to be paid. I need not to store it. I need not to store it. And similarly, the subtotal can also be generated, and the complete total can also be generated as output. So we will not be storing them. We will avoid storing them. But still, this database is not in a normal form. Okay, you please be careful to listening to me. If you are not understanding, you can ask me to wait. So you can stop me and ask the doubt. Okay, don't simply go with the flow. Anytime you can stop me. You can put your speaker on. You can ask me, or you can put it in the chat box. So this is still unnormalized database because my computer is not able to access it and get the complete information. Now our job is to convert this into a first normal form. Convert this database into a first normal form. Now what first normal form says that whatever blank entries you have, you fill up all those blank entries with the entities with the entries which you are assuming. I am assuming that it should be 15. I am assuming that this should be 18. This should be 22. So it says that you fill it up. Why you are making unnecessary assumption and asking the computer to assume? Definitely computer is not going to assume anything. So instead of that, you better fill it up. Fill it up. Okay, so that there will be every time or any row may be accessed, it is going to give the information. Evergreen in all these, amber wave in all these, rolling tide is in all these, and starflight in all these. Fill the entry. Don't keep the cell blank. You are not assuming. Actually, it is there. For 15, there are 6 employees, 5 employees who are working. So let it be redundant for time being, but fill all the entries. That's what first normal form is saying. What is first normal form? First normal form enforces eliminate the repeating group, means it is not bothered about you don't have the group of element like here you don't consider this one entry is representing the entire group. So eliminate that part, eliminate repeating groups in individual table, create a separate table for each set of related data, create a table for that, and try to identify the primary key for that related data. Okay, so these three things it identifies. And what is the formal definition of it? Formal definition of it is 1NF describes the tabular format in which all the key attributes are defined. All the key attributes are defined, and hence we are avoiding the subtotal and the total charges. All the key attributes are defined. There should be no repeating groups in the table. That's why we are making entry for every row separately. And all attributes must be dependent on are dependent on the primary key. That will be our assumption. That will be our assumption. Okay. So when I try to convert this, so keep the first two things in mind. All the key attributes must be defined, and there are no repeating groups in the table. So it will look something like this. Your the first table, which was in the normalized form, is going to look something like this. And here you can see there is no repeating group. This is a cursor. It is going to get the complete information. Wherever you put the cursor, it is not going to get the blank information. It is going to get the complete row, all informations in the all information in the row. Okay, so there should not be a repeating group. Secondly, all key attributes are mentioned. Key attributes, the generated attribute like total charges or subtotal or the complete total, all are neglected because those can be generated every time, anytime. Okay, I can simply say select charge hour into hours from this table, and I'm going to get that table generated. Okay, so won't be a issue. That's why we are just testing out the key attributes, not all attributes. Okay. Now, and other thing is we are trying to identify the primary key here. Identify whether the primary key is there or not. That we are going to see. Yes, I can take primary key as say employee number or project number or combinedly project number and employee number or something like that. Yes, I should be able to um, identify the uh, primary. Okay, but for time being we'll just understand that what is our aim in first normal form is there should be no repeating group. We should have entry in every cell. There may be redundancy, but we should have a entry in every cell. Okay, again I am repeating, it eliminates the repeating groups for individual table, create a separate table for each set of related data, and try to identify the primary. Okay, so this is what our first normal form, comparatively very simple. Now main uh, aspect of normalization gets addressed from the second normal form. Now this is my structure. Which attribute can act as a primary key in this case? Can I have project number as a primary key? Only project number as a primary key? Yes or no? Yes, yes or no, Akshay? I could not
No,
hear.
sir. No, sir.
No. Okay. Someone else will tell me why we will not have project number, only project number as a primary.
So because project number is getting repeated.
Yes, project number is getting repeated. Uh, then what we should do? Someone else will answer.
Sir, we can use employee number.
We can use employee number as a primary key.
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
The primary key, is it correct? Harsh Upadhyay, are you there? Harsh Upadhyay, are you there? Ashin,
Yes, sir.
what do you say about the primary key?
Uh,
Can't say anything.
sir.
सुध रहा है कि नहीं? हाँ,
Yes, sir. सुन रहा हूँ.
हाँ, ये खाना वाना खाने चला गया था, ब्रेकफास्ट करना.
नहीं नहीं यही सर यही पे यही.
नहीं, चलो ठीक है. Okay, if people are not understanding, just let me know. See here, yes, only project name cannot act as a primary key because ultimately primary key should not repeat itself. So it is repeating. So primary key, number cannot be a primary key. Can employee number be a primary key? Definitely project name will also not be, because that is also getting repeated. Can employee number be a primary key? Again, no, because that is also getting repeated. You can find Alice Johnson, that is 105, is getting repeated, or several other people are also getting repeated. So alone project number or alone employee number cannot be a primary key. So we'll have to form a super key, combination of more than one attributes. Then is it always need to we need to have a we need to have um, a super key is the first question. Second thing is, if some employee is leaving, then what will happen to that super key? Some employees has left. Let us say that employee number 101 has left. So all the entries of 101 need to be removed. So what will happen to that primary key, that project? Let us say that there is one project on which only one employee is working. There is one project on which only one employee is working, and that employee is getting is leaving the organization. Then shall we abandon that project? No, it will not happen. Some new employee will be appointed for that. In other words, if the project is abandoned, project is closed, a project is finished, are we going to remove all the employees? No, because they will be put on some other project. So all these things may create a problem. These are called as anomalies. These are deletion anomaly or insertion anomaly. Yes, if I am deleting one project, am I expected to delete all the employees which are associated with that? अब यहाँ पे मैं बोलता हूँ कि delete from this table where project number is equal to 15. Okay, and all the tables will, all the rows will get deleted. It may happen that some employee who is working only for that project, let us say that in this case, employee number 102, employee number 102, David. David is not working on any other project than project number 15. If project number 15 is abandoned in some case, or project number 15 is over, what will happen to I'm going to delete that entry. What will happen to David then? Shall I remove David from the job? Definitely not. We need to put David to some other job. So, but in this case, what will happen? The deletion anomaly will happen, and when we'll delete project number 15, David's information will also be lost. Also be lost. Okay, this is called as anomaly, or in this particular case, it is a deletion anomaly. And let us say that some employee is joining and has not been allotted with any project by now. So that project information related to him will be left blank. Will be left blank. So at that case, uh, that will be a problem for us. Right? Let us say that the employee other update anomaly. Let us say that William Smith Shield, that is employee number 106, is promoted, or his charges per hours are increased to $40. This is updation. The rest of the things are not changed. So only one update is not okay, not enough. I need to update in all the rows wherever 106 is appearing. Where in this I'll have to find out 106. It is here. I'll have to make the changes here also. This is update anomaly. I cannot just simply leave the database by making only one change. Okay, so we need to take care of that, and now identify some key elements, some prime elements, where all the non-prime elements will be functionally dependent on that. Now here comes our concept of functional dependency in picture. Okay, so prepare for further normalization. Further normalizations means now we have changed or modified the unnormalized table into a normalized first normal form, table normalized in first normal form. Now further normalization, we try to bring it into a second normal form. So when I try to bring it into a second normal form, two things we'll have to take care of. Identify the primary key now and identify all the dependencies. Identify the primary key and identify all the dependencies, the functional dependencies. And we'll later decide how that dependency will work. So first we'll draw the dependency diagram for the same. Now can I have, see here, as we told that we'll have to form a super key. Super key means a primary key which will have a combination of two things, that will be project number and employee number together will be able to identify all the things. Okay, so that is always correct. Here it is saying that where project name and employee number together can identify all things. Okay, so I can say that this project number and this employee number can identify employee name, can identify job class, that is his designation, can identify the charges of each employee, and can also identify hours. It's possible. It is possible. Okay, but when I see more in particular, project name is only dependent on only project number. It has nothing to do with project employee number. With only project number I can get the information of project name. But as our primary key is the I'll just write in short, this dependency is something like this: project number I'll just put the chart around. Project number and employee number able to identify project name. Okay, this FD exists. This FD exists. Okay, similarly this also exists. This also exists. Okay, P name can be identified, or also E name can be identified, but can I say that employee name doesn't play any role in identify project name? It has nothing to do with that. Only with the help of project number I can identify project name. So basically this P name is not fully functionally dependent on the super key, but it is partially dependent on the super key. Okay, it is not fully functionally dependent on the on that. Okay, so this is a problem, having a super key roughly for all the non-prime attributes. Here also the same case. For getting employee name, I don't need project number. With only employee number, I can get the employee name. Fine. Similarly, I can get the designation of that and can also get the charges per hour for that person. Okay. Basically, वैसे देखा जाए तो there is only one attribute which is fully functionally dependent on project name and e-name together on that super key is the hours. This employee has worked for this project for these many hours. That's the only thing which is getting fully functionally dependent on project name and employee name together, project number and employee number together. Rest all are partially dependent. Project name is partially dependent on, is only dependent on project number, and employee name, job class, and charges per hour is fully functionally dependent on only employee name. Okay, so this is the dependency diagram for this table. Also, one thing we can also add is this is a transitive dependency. Means if this employee is holding this position, then he will be able to charge this amount. Okay, I'll go back to the, if he is an electrical engineer, here you can, database designer, both database designer are having the same charges per hour. Okay, both database designer have the same charges per hour, or both programmers in this case. In this case, both programmers, William and Maria, are getting charged same. That means I can say this charge per hour is for the job class, not for the employee. Yes, if the employee is a programmer, he'll get 35.75. If he is a database designer, he is going to get 105. Okay, and other funny thing that this table identifies is database designer is getting paid most, nearly 3 times than the programmer. Okay, so that also that is a scope for you if you are going into field of database or data analyst or data mining or data warehousing or knowledge mining. These kind of fields are getting paid more than the traditional programming or application designers. That can be a hint for you. So here you can see that job class, basically your charges per hour are dependent on job class than the employee thing. As the employee is a database designer, he is getting paid that amount. If he was a programmer, he would have been paid something else. Okay, so in that case, this can be treated as a transitive dependency. This can be treated as a transitive dependency, means it seems that this is dependent on employee number, but basically employee number is determining job class, and job class in turn is determining charges per hour. So what I can say is charges per hour is transitively dependent on employee number, not functionally dependent on not fully functionally dependent on employee number, but it's transitively dependent on employee number. Are you understanding this, whatever I said about transitive dependency? Is it clear? Please put in the chat box if it is clear, or you want me to repeat, or you can talk once for speaker. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
The transitive dependency part. Karthika and Akshay, only I think 2 people are listening carefully. Rest are really not bothered whether it is understood or not. Okay, Sakshi, Marianne also has understood. Okay, now it's up to you if you want me to repeat or not understood. You need to get it understood by yourself. Fine. So this is a dependency diagram. Now, depending on this dependency diagram, I have clearly understood that not all non-prime attributes are fully functionally dependent on the super key, but most of them are partially dependent on this super key. Then what is the best way to handle this? Why not to break this table into smaller parts? Why not to keep employee information separately? Why not to keep project information separately? And why not to keep the relationship among these two? Then all these problems will be solved. Let us see. Conversion to second normal form. How we can convert it into a second normal form is starting with one normal form format. Make the database into first normal form, and then write each key component on a separate line. अब यहाँ पे की कंपोनेंट कौन से आइडेंटिफाई किए हमने? एक तो प्रोजेक्ट नंबर और दूसरा एम्प्लॉय नंबर. Yes. When we have seen the dependency diagrams, most of the other attributes are dependent on only these two. Okay. So first of all, you list out all the key components and then finally write down the original key. Original key was project name plus uh, employee number. That was our original key, out of which key component is project number as well as employee number. So write them separately and at last you write the original key component. And then with every key, you just list out the attributes which are dependent on it. So how does previous one is converted into the into project number key component usko likh liya and at last we have written the original key. We have written the original and secondly write the dependent attributes after each new key. So which is what is dependent on project number is project name. Only project name was dependent on that. मैं fully functionally dependent. मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ? Fully functionally dependent was only project name. Then on employee we had employee name, job class and charges per hour. They were dependent on employee number. And only one attribute was left which was dependent on the older or original super key. Original key. That is employee number plus project number together will only able to generate hours. If you don't have any one of these two, you won't be able to determine hours. If you don't have employee number, you won't be able to determine project numbers. Sorry, with project number you cannot determine hours, or if other is missing, you cannot determine hours. Both should be present and then only hours can be determined. So hours is the only attribute which is fully functionally dependent on the original super key. Okay. So this way now our single table is distributed in 3 tables: project, employee and assign. These names we are giving. So project will have information about project, employee will have information about employee, and assign will have information about which employee is working on which project for how many hours. Fine. So this is the way we can now. This is called as decomposition. Is called as decomposition, decomposing the huge table into smaller tables. But only care we'll have to take in this case is the information should not be lost in any case. No information should be lost. Okay. So this way we can have we can bring the database into a second normal form. Now we'll just this is the same example. We'll try to draw a dependency diagram and we'll see which are we having any partial dependency or we have all the fully functional dependency in that. Now you find out the first one. Project name is determining, sorry, project number is determining project name. So project name is fully functionally dependent on project number. If I have project number, I can definitely get project name and uniquely get that. If I have employee number, I can uniquely identify employee name, his job class and his charges per hour. And similarly, if I have both the information, project number and employee number together, I can uniquely identify the number of hours that employee has worked for that project. So these tables are in second normal form, and if all the relations in a database are in second normal form, whole database is said to be in the second normal form. Only thing is, this is entity set, this is also an entity set, and this is a relationship set because it is associating the previous. Fine. The formal definition of second normal form is a table is in second normal form if it is in the first normal form and it includes no partial dependency. That is, no attribute is dependent on only a portion of primary key. Or in other words, I can say that every non-prime attribute should be fully functionally dependent fully functionally dependent on the primary. Okay, fully functionally dependent on the primary. So is it true for all the tables which we have prepared, all the relations which we have prepared, rather not prepared, which we have as a resultant of decomposition? Yes, it is following this definition. But it is still possible that the table is in two normal form exhibit transitive dependency. It may exhibit transitive dependency. So that is the thing which we are going to address. That is, one or more attributes may be functionally dependent on non-key attributes. Okay, I'll go back to the dependency diagram here. As we discussed earlier, charges per hour is again dependent on job class, which in turn is dependent on employee number. Hence, charge per hour is transitively dependent on employee number. But it satisfies the definition of primary. Second normal form, that this non-prime attribute is functionally dependent on employee number, maybe transitively, but employee number. Okay, so this is a second normal form. And now third normal form says that avoid the transitive dependency. If transitive dependency is avoided, then there is no question, there is no problem at all. Okay, what is the problem with transitive dependency? In this case, if I am removing the job class, or if I am changing the job class of this employee, you need to also change charges per hour. You cannot keep it as it is, because as his designation has changed, his charges per hour is also changed. That care we'll have to take, and if you are not taking that, that will lead us the wrong information. That's the problem with transitive dependency. So why to keep this kind of dependency? Let us try to avoid it in the third normal form. So when we try to convert to the third normal form, what we can do is create a separate table with attributes in a transitive functional dependence relationship. So what can be a simple definition? It should be in first, second NF, and it should not contain transitive dependency. So this is our second normal form example. Just now we have seen it can be converted into a third normal form in this way. What we did here, so from this table, this was a transitive dependency which we had. So it was taken as a separate table. Okay, create a separate table with attributes in a transitive functional dependency. So जो भी दो का transitive dependency आ रहा है, उसका एक separate table बना दो. Okay, so job class will be a primary key in that case, and charges per hour will be the non-prime attribute. These charges per hour can be changed. Okay, आज database designer के लिए $105 है, कल वो $125 हो सकता है. So is not going to affect any of the other three. That effect will be here only. Job class. So as designer, I'm going to identify database designer in this job list, and his charges per hour can be very easily identified. That will be used for calculating the total charges he's going to perform. Okay. Now you see the first table which we had was brought into a single table of first normal form. Then it was converted to find out all, or to avoid partial dependencies, into three tables, and to avoid transitive table, further decomposition has happened, and we are now having four tables. All these four tables convert all the information in the represents all the information in the original table. We must take care that this decomposition should not lose any information. Should not use any information and lose any information. So this is what the need of normalization, or this is the way we can move to the normalization part. Today we have seen first, second, and third normal form. The next is your BCNF and fourth normal form are the two things which are more important. Fifth and sixth normal form are very high-end normal form where we generally don't reach, but still we will have an introduction towards that and in the coming lectures. So this is from first, second, and third normal form. Okay. Tomorrow we don't have a lecture, but probably I'll post or I will take a lecture or will post a video for the BCNF and fourth normal form. Please go through that because I want you to understand that concept before you implement the database in the practical. Okay. And probably we don't have much time left. uh, I don't know what will be the university is going to do, but our college is starting sessionals of uh, 8th semester at the in the second week, I think from 10th. So probably you may also have to appear for sessional in next 15 days, 15 to 20 days. So we'll be little faster in finishing up the syllabus because we have still 2 minutes left. So we will be little faster in finishing up the syllabus. So probably I'll post few lectures which may be not synced with the classes, but by taking extra time out, you'll have to go through those lectures or some study material I'll post. You can go through that material also. So it will be a hectic schedule for you, but we don't have any other option than facing that problem. Okay. So this was normalization till third normal form, and this is all from my side. If you have some doubt, you can stay back